Welcome back, everybody. You're watching Cape Rugby TV. Of course, DHL Stormers skills coach, Labeeb Levy. No stranger to Cape Rugby TV. He's on the line with us now, and he's coming up in a second or so. Remember, if you want to win yourself a case of Score energy drinks, 33090. Just SMS the word SCORE to 33090, and you put yourself in the mix to win a case of Score energy drinks. Congratulations to last week's winner, JJ Adams. JJ, you walk away with a case of Score energy drinks. Someone from Cape Rugby TV is going to get in touch with you shortly. Right, folks, joining me on the line now is DHL Stormers skills coach and no stranger to Cape Rugby TV, and certainly no stranger to club rugby, Labeeb Levy. Labeeb, great to see you again, man.
I'm very well, JP. Nice to be back on the field. Nice to be on Cape TV as well as usual, and just share some of the experiences that we're having with the rugby community. And yeah, all good.
Yeah, it's the last few weeks must have been quite a change for you guys. We've spoken to Jerome, we spoke to Chippy Solomon, and all the excitement about, well, return to play, and of course all the skills that you guys can do now with the ball.
Yeah, I think it after the guys that have been in lockdown, total lockdown, and training on their own and doing individual and Zoom training and all sorts of conditioning. I think the guys are just happy to be back in a rugby environment. It's not ideal in terms of normal, but like the buzzword of the new normal, and we're just trying to make it work in terms of sticking to the protocols, and we have to be creative as coaches, and the players are just happy to see their mates, even though they're not seeing all their mates, because we're working in micro groups. Groups of 5 as per national government regulation, but the guys are happy to actually come into work, do some gym work, do some skill training, do basic training during this phase.
Labeeb, let's just go back to you for a second there. When we spoke to Jerome, we spoke to Chippy, and we've spoken to you, of course, in the last few weeks about skills coaching, and the fact that the players are able to use a ball again. This seems like something that we took for granted before, and now the players are using a ball, and they're all very excited about just the fact that they can touch a rugby ball.
Yeah, they can touch a ball, and we obviously, like I said, the protocol related, etc. We have to get them. We can't really do tight exchanges, so we can't really do proper scrumming, mauling, etc. So it's a lot of it is basic catch and pass things that we're doing, with a little bit of decision making, or take the ball and just dive with the ball forward and practice recoiling, not proper cleans, But so we, as coaches, we have to be very creative in what we do, and like I said, they're only working groups of 5, and then every now and then we just tweak it a bit, and so we've gone like a station type format, but after every station you have to sanitize the ball, things like that.
Yeah. Labeeb, how much impact does it now have, or how much does it add for you to be able to now use a ball in training when you're looking at skills work?
Well, I love it because it gives me opportunity to work in smaller groups, and I can focus on the individual. So when I record the session, I can actually look at him within the session, because only groups of 5, and I have them they're like 8 sessions a day.
Yeah.
8 sessions. So I'm replicating the same session. Obviously, for them backs, I tweak it a bit. So it gives me an opportunity to actually focus on the individual, which is great for me. We don't always have that time, but we start to bring a bit of decision making in, and making the guys run onto the ball in certain mini structures, etc., and to show that the micro skills we've been working on, how it applies to the game.
Well, that was going to be one of my questions to you, is after such a long layoff, like, where do you start? Is it you start on hand skills, or do you start on hand-eye coordination, or is it footwork, spatial distance? But you kind of have explained it in a way.
The spatial distance, it was quite an interesting one that you mentioned. It is not something that people think of, but the first week it was I wouldn't say a horror show, but it was quite interesting. They couldn't, so I did a lot of hand-eye coordination things just at the beginning, getting the guys familiar, using different balls, tennis balls, heavy balls,
Yeah.
all balls, like I've said in previous shows. So I just got them just doing a lot of ball familiarization, and then going on to technique, as I mentioned, but then going full on passing, and then getting some defenders in, going through a process, first static defenders, or actually we start static and we move up, and then we bring station defenders. And it's difficult because a lot of the session the guys have to wear masks, so they communicate what is it's not actually.
Yeah, that must be also another thing that we didn't think about before is you take the voice to carry across the field. We take that for granted, and now you've got to think about communication on the field.
Communication has become, it actually forces them to communicate louder, but there still comes little errors in which can create quite a funny environment, because the words are
Yes.
misinterpreted. And we're sort of operating with two squads, so we've got like a blue squad and a red squad. So they don't actually see each other. So one group will come the morning, the other the night, just in case there is some form of contamination with one of the players, then we don't have to put the whole squad into quarantine as such. And we'll just.
Labeeb, is it the same when it comes to skills coaching where you're starting now? Is it the same for forwards and backline players?
Yeah, well, like the first 2 weeks especially, we kept it very similar in terms of the basics passing, but since last week we've done a bit of groundwork in terms of diving forward with the ball, recoiling, getting movement, placing the ball, and then we combine it with players picking up the ball and passing. So we brought that element in, and we've also had some split sessions with Rito in terms of just basic lifting and throwing.
Yes, yes. Of course, you're talking about Rito Klongwane now, who's involved with the forwards.
Yeah, and then from a scrum perspective, because you can't really be going live scrumming or in groups of 8, there's a lot of function working as the skill, with the band work and doing all sorts of animal movement, just to get the guys into that sort of setup.
Labeeb, just a final question. I mean, I would assume that the spirit of the players must be at a high at the moment. They must be very excited about the fact that they're back on the field, that they're able to see each other again, even if they're not allowed to come into contact with each other. How's the gees in the squad?
I must say the energy is quite amazing. It's quite amazing in terms of I think that there's a lot of talk globally around player welfare and wellness and mental health, etc. And we just think sometimes we take it for granted. It's there, but you can see it's quite interesting, and that we take it for granted, and especially in Cape Town we're very tough. Toughen up, but the fact that you were isolated, I'm sure it has affected some players in that aspect, and just being around familiar environment is motivating for them, and the hears is good. They I don't know, they just seem more eager to be there. Not that they weren't in the past, but
yes, I'm sure.
You have to motivate them too much. The guys come on time. They coachable. They keen for the sessions. They not. They don't seem sometimes too tired. No, they're up for it.
Labeeb, let's wrap it up. Unfortunately, a little bit push for time. But where do you go to now? So you've got the hand-eye coordination. You're working on spatial awareness, and of course, you're still talking about the fact that the communication is a bit of a challenge. But from a skills perspective, what do you do next?
Okay, yeah, I sort of plan my week up until when we're going to play in a few weeks' time. But I'm at the stage where I'm having like just forwards, running off the 9, and then just work on some options there, and just for them to make a bit of decision making, but also to get flow in that space. And then from the backs perspective, we look at certain starter plays in our half in particular, in order to create space to either attack or kick into it in a good position.
Labeeb, we're going to leave it at that. And of course, we say to you and to the players and everybody out there, stay safe. And we can't wait to see you guys back on the park. And I'm sure everybody's very keen to see Western Province Rugby playing against some of the other teams soon.
The guys are excited and can't also wait to get back. And thanks for having me again tonight, JP. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Labeeb. There we go, folks. Labeeb Levy, of course, DHL Stormers skills coach, and he knows plenty about club rugby, and we're always great catching up with Labeeb. Folks, we're going to leave it at that now, and we'll say to you, remember, follow all the health and safety protocols. Always remember, wash your hands, practice social distancing, and wear a mask. We'll see you again next week, same time, same place. Bye-bye.